Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have made some more roster releases in an effort to get their team down to 53 players from the original 90. Here are the following players that have been released in addition to the players that I mentioned in the previous video. You have outside linebacker Jay Person. You have offensive lineman Xavier Delgado. You have offensive lineman Ryan Johnson. You have tight end Sal Cannella, tight end David Wells, wide receiver Latrell Jones, wide receiver Cephas Johnson. We have wide receiver Tanner Knue, running back Ramon Jefferson, and finally defensive lineman Lwal Uguak, who have all been released from the team. And folks, I'm going to go through player by player real quick. So firstly, in the case of Jay Person, this is a guy that was brought in pretty late in the process in terms of training camp and preseason and whatnot. He did make a couple of plays here or there, especially in the first preseason game, but didn't necessarily do anything after that in the next couple of preseason games. Might be a candidate for the practice squad, but also would not surprise me if he did one off and explore some other opportunities elsewhere. Xavier Delgado is another interesting name, and he was kind of the primary backup at left guard after Sua Opeta went down with his season-ending injury. He's another guy that could possibly make it back on the practice squad as well, especially since, he was basically the backup by default, but I feel like he did an okay job. We could possibly see him back in there as well. Ryan Johnson was another very late addition, kind of like some of the guys that we've talked about, like Brandon Matterson and, of course, Jay Person, who I just mentioned. Again, a guy who was brought in pretty late to the process and just, I feel like, didn't have enough time to really catch on and showcase what he could do with the short time that he had. Sal Cannella is another example of that at the tight end position. Again, brought in pretty late, was a bit of a veteran, bit of a star in the UFL, XFL, whatever it is these days. But unfortunately, it seems like that tight end 4 spot is either going to, or tight end 3 spot, I should say, if the Bucs do carry only 3 tight ends, may come down to either be it Tanner Culp, the 7th round draft pick out of Washington, or Ko Keith, the more recent draft pick out of Minnesota just a couple of years ago. You then also have a couple of guys in David Wells. Veteran tight end is a guy who, was with the Bucs last year, hasn't really done anything with the team since he's been a part of it, so it's not too terribly surprising to see him get released as well. He had definitely a very big uphill climb. Similar situations with guys like Latrell Jones, Cephas Johnson, who's been like kind of on and off with the team for the past year or so now. I remember I used to think like, oh, could this guy play like quarterback, wide receiver, hybrid type of thing? But, he's officially gone now. And the two more interesting names, in my opinion, Ramon Jefferson and Tanner Knue. Firstly, in the case of Ramon Jefferson, he was formerly with Liam Cohen at Kentucky last year. So I don't know, maybe could be somebody who's brought back in the in the practice squad later on in this season if they just want to get another look at him. But again, didn't really get a ton of opportunities in training camp and whatnot. DJ Williams is still on this roster, by the way, at least as far as I could tell. This is all according to Greg Auman of Fox Sports, by the way. But again, it's a shame to see him go. I'm a big Ramon Jefferson guy. Really wish he would have had more of an opportunity, but it is what it is. Tanner Knue, very similar situation. I could maybe see him again be brought onto the practice squad later on down the line, but it also really wouldn't surprise me if Tanner Knue signed with another team's practice squad as well, because I feel like he did a couple of nice things in those preseason games. And similar thing with Ramon Jefferson, maybe he catches on with another team's practice squad, but we'll see. Lwal Uguak, dude, I do want to see this guy on the Bucs practice squad. I think that this is he showed some really good stuff in the final 2 preseason games, just in terms of getting tackles for loss and getting pressure on the quarterback. It was impressive to see. So fingers crossed that, those guys are maybe on like a short list going forward, because right now, again, this is per Greg Auman, where he said that, seemingly right now, if things go right for the Bucs, they'll be able to keep almost all of their remaining players, between 53 on the roster, 2 on IR, and 16 on the practice squad, plus Lorenz Metz, who originally was reported as being cut, but now he's kind of being listed as an international exemption on the practice squad. Some cuts could get claimed by other teams for their 53, but we'll see. So it seems like the players that are pretty much left are in some way, shape, or form going to be a part of the organization, be it guys like Tyreek Thunderberg or Chris McDonald or maybe DJ Williams at running back. Keenan Isaac may be in that mix. Rashad Wisdom, Marcus Banks at safety. There's a lot of different guys that are still out there, as potential options for the practice squad. But I still think that if any of those guys do get claimed, you have 3 pretty good options that I thought did some good stuff in Lwal Uguak at the defensive line, Ramon Jefferson at running back, and Tanner Knue at wide receiver. But ultimately, we'll see. And maybe even Jay Person at linebacker. Who knows? But, folks, that's it for kind of this last wave of cuts. If there are any more big moves, I'll talk about that in a separate video. But the last video I should be making regarding roster cuts down to the 53-man roster should be maybe tomorrow, maybe sometime on Tuesday, but it should be kind of like the last batch that we'll be talking about in terms of maybe like, I might do 2, maybe like 8 in one, 8 in the other, whatever it may be. I'll obviously make a video about the practice squad and everything along those lines, so we'll see. But guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about the players who were released that I talked about in this video down in the comments section below. I would love to hear it. Subscribe if you guys are new, by the way. We are on the road to 20,000 subscribers, and it would be greatly appreciated. But guys, again, thanks so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, folks, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.